The animals of Manor Farm are born into slavery. They receive just enough food to keep breathing. They are forced to work to the last atom of their strength, and the instant they outlive their usefulness, they are slaughtered. Their lives are miserable, laborious, and short. But the old prize boar, Major, offers them a different vision. He describes a future where the soil of England provides abundance for everyone, a society entirely free from human exploitation. He teaches them an anthem, Beasts of England, planting the seed of an egalitarian dream. That dream materializes sooner than expected. Driven by hunger, the animals spontaneously attack their tormentors, chasing Mr. Jones and his men off the property. In a frantic burst of joy, they wipe out the traces of his reign, flinging the whips, bits, and nose rings down the well. This uprising was fueled by decades of real physical suffering. By expelling their human tyrant, the animals secure the opportunity to build a society where the labor of the working class actually benefits the working class. The sprawling property is quickly renamed Animal Farm. The lush hayfields, the orchard, the farmhouse, it all suddenly belongs to them as a collective asset. To cement this new egalitarian order, the pigs, who have taught themselves to read, distill the principles of their revolution into 7 commandments. They paint them in massive white letters on the end wall of the big barn. The final law is absolute. All animals are equal. But almost immediately, the milk from the cows and the windfall apples from the orchard vanish. They aren't distributed equally. The pigs have claimed them entirely for their own mash. When the rest of the farm murmurs in protest, the pig named Squealer steps in. He explains that pigs are brain workers. He claims that biological science requires them to consume milk and apples to manage the farm effectively. If they fail, he warns, Mr. Jones will return. The animals drop their objections. This marks a quiet, fatal compromise. A written constitution is intended to bind everyone equally. But if the ruling class holds the exclusive right to interpret why they are exempt from those rules, the Constitution is effectively meaningless. As the farm develops, 2 leading pigs vie for control. Snowball sketches complex plans for a windmill to electrify the farm, while Napoleon quietly opposes him, building support in the shadows. Their intellectual rivalry splits the farm into factions. Just as the animals are about to vote on the windmill, Napoleon unleashes 9 massive dogs he had secretly raised in seclusion. He sends them bounding into the barn, driving Snowball off the property forever. Napoleon steps up to the platform, flanked by the snarling dogs, and announces that the Sunday morning debates are over. From now on, all decisions will be made by a special committee of pigs, presided over by himself. When a massive winter storm reduces their half-built windmill to rubble, Napoleon refuses to admit structural failure. Instead, he declares that Snowball crept in under cover of darkness and sabotaged it. Every broken window, every lost key, is suddenly blamed on their former comrade. Napoleon secures total control through a 2-step mechanism. By monopolizing physical violence, he removes the possibility of democratic opposition. By conjuring an invisible, ever-present enemy, he ensures the terrified populace relies on him for protection. But brute force is messy. To truly cement their power, the pigs begin a systematic campaign to rewrite the past, altering the historical record to retroactively justify their behavior. The pigs move into the farmhouse. They eat in the kitchen, lounge in the drawing room, and begin sleeping in the beds. When the cart horse Clover remembers a specific rule against this, she asks someone to read the barn wall. By adding the words "with sheets" to the text while everyone was sleeping, the pigs transform the definition of the law they are breaking. The rewriting accelerates as the regime's paranoia grows. Napoleon orders the animals into the yard. Dogs drag forward pigs, hens, and sheep, forcing them to confess to absurd crimes orchestrated by Snowball. The dogs tear their throats out, living corpses at Napoleon's feet. This violates the sacred rule, no animal shall kill another. But when the survivors check the barn wall, the law now reads, no animal shall kill any other animal without cause. Shortly after, the pigs issue a decree banning Beasts of England. Squealer insists that the song was a longing for a better society, and since that utopian society has now been achieved, the anthem has no purpose. Gaslighting provides a more durable subjugation than physical force. By forcing the animals to doubt their own memories, The pigs remove the only solid ground from which the populace could mount a defense. The farm suffers a brutal invasion by neighboring men. The attackers pack blasting powder into the newly finished windmill, blowing 2 years of agonizing labor into a cloud of black smoke. The animals fight back, but they are driven to the edge, left bleeding, weeping, and exhausted. Squealer greets the limping survivors, beaming with satisfaction. When Boxer questions what they have actually achieved, Squealer insists they have won a monumental victory by simply regaining the exact soil they stood on that morning. Years pass. The animals work longer hours and feed no better than they did under human rule. And eventually, the original 7 commandments are entirely painted over, swallowed by black tar. In their place, a single, impossible maxim is written. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. This paradox is the ultimate triumph of the regime. The state no longer needs to hide its hypocrisy. It has codified it into law. They have completely severed reality from truth. The revolution ends where it began. The pigs begin wearing clothes, carrying whips, and drinking with human farmers. When the other animals look from pig to man and from man to pig, it is impossible to say which is which. George Orwell published this story in 1945, watching the rise of totalitarian regimes across the globe. He mapped the exact mechanics of how a liberator morphs into an oppressor. The systematic destruction of objective truth is what keeps a populace in chains. Once a regime can convince the oppressed that their memories are wrong, that suffering is victory, and that subjugation is freedom, the cage is permanently locked.